Hi again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of First Person, sponsored by the Precision Strip Company in Minster, Ohio. Generations of service to that great community, as well as Minster and the Auglaize County community at large. Great place to work. We talk about them all the time because they're always looking for good, new people. Great place to start or finish a career. That's the Precision Strip Company, sponsors of Press Pros Magazine for many, many years, and they're responsible for our First Person interviews. Our guest this week is Doug Hughes, the head boys basketball coach at Parkway. And let me first introduce you by saying that it has been 3 or 4 weeks since we've been able to change the first person interview because this is a busy time of year. We've had 2 or 3 people who have called up at the last minute and said, hey, I got a scout tonight, I got to do this, can we put this off? So I appreciate your time today, and of course, as you know, everybody knows, this is a sensitive time because of the suspension of the state tournaments and health risk issues, and so I appreciate the opportunity to be able to sit down with you, and first of all, congratulate you on a tremendous season, 19-7 as we're talking here, and I think one of the real surprises, if I had to pick one this year, the surprise of West Central Ohio basketball, it'd be you, and good on you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thanks a lot for coming up and having the interview and giving me the time. And it's been a really exciting year and a fun year because of the way we've gone about doing things. You know, you talk about it being a surprise. I think we did surprise some people. The only people that weren't surprised were the people in our locker room because we believed all along, even after we got off to a 2-3 start, that we were a good basketball team and that we would be able to turn it around. The way we turned it around, quite frankly, was just staying together and continuing to grind, continuing to work in this gym every day after school.
You are the cardiac kids of the OHSAA because of your 7 losses. I think I added this up. They're by about a cumulative of 14 points. You've had a lot of 2-point wins. You've had a lot of 2-point losses. So it has been an exciting 19-7.
Yes, it's been a very exciting 19-7. You know, think back to the Fort Recovery game, our first MAC loss over there at Fort Recovery. Grant Knappke hit 2 big threes from the left wing, and one of them with very few seconds remaining. They were down 2. He hits the 3, and we lose by 1. We lose at Botkins in another very close game early in the basketball season, in which we played great defense, force him into a really tough 3-pointer from about 25 feet out. Ball ricochets wrong off the rim, and they lay it up and in as the buzzer sounds. So there's 2 of our first 3 losses, and the message in the locker room to our guys was the same in a lot of those losses early on, was that we've got to stay together, and we've got to keep working hard, and this thing will turn around, and it did.
Well, I've seen you 3 times this year, and I think 2 of the 3 times have been 2-point wins.
Yeah.
And then, lo and behold, you get to the regional the other night, and I might add, first time ever in the district, first time ever district champions, and of course, it holds then its first time in a trip for Parkway to the regional, and lo and behold, you beat a pretty good Tiffin Calvert team by 2 points, and you know, it's hard to maintain basketball when you're on the edge like that.
Yeah.
You know, that's a hard way to play, and it takes either something pretty special from you or your staff or pretty special kids to be able to do that for 26 games.
Well, I think you got a special group of kids here because they're winners.
Yeah.
They're winners through and through. They hang together. And you know what's so satisfying as a head coach is that the way they go about doing it is that they are in it for each other. They're not in it for themselves. They sacrificed a lot of individual accomplishments so that Parkway could be really, really good this year, and that's why it was such a special year. It's because of the sacrifices that the guys, and not just 1 or 2 guys, but everybody in that locker room made the sacrifices so that Parkway would be great. And you know what made them when they got most excited as a group was when they got to see one of their teammates achieve great success. When Caleb Kinney scored 1,000 points, when he broke Josh Fisher's all-time scoring record here at Parkway, that's when our guys got most excited. It wasn't about them. It was about the team. It was about seeing the success of a teammate. And that is so rewarding as a head coach.
Doug Hughes, the coach at Parkway, is our guest this week on First Person. And I want to go back for a minute and just talk about the tournament situation. It was announced last week that the girls and boys tournaments have been suspended. I'm not saying officially that they're going to be played, but if they are going to be played, it's going to be difficult because most schools are closed for 3 weeks. How difficult would it be to amp things up again and get kids in condition, shape, mentally, physically, condition-wise, to go ahead with the tournaments?
It would be tough. It would be tough, but it'd be something that we sure would look forward to the challenge, and we would certainly embrace it, and we would hope that we're given that opportunity. But again, with the current state of things, it may be extremely difficult to get that opportunity.
What'd you tell your kids? I know this is a disappointment. You come off that win the other night at Tiffin, against Tiffin, and just to be in the regional and then again to win in the manner in which you've won so many times this year, what have you told your kids in terms of psyche and disappointment, how to deal with this? The coaches, what you sit down and say, hey, look, this is a life lesson. This is part of basketball. It's not part of basketball they've ever known.
No, and it's it was a very difficult conversation. I came back from getting a bite to eat at lunch the other day and heard that they were pulling the girls off last Thursday. We had won last Tuesday, and so we were 100% prepared. The scouting report was we had one good day of practice. We're getting ready to practice on Thursday to play undefeated #1 ranked Columbus Grove in the regional final. Excitement couldn't have been any bigger here at Parkway, and to find out that they were pulling the girls off of St. John's Arena floor, you kind of knew what that meant, and you knew what that meant for your basketball team. So we called the team together about 1:15 last Thursday afternoon. It was a very difficult conversation, but it was a conversation that went something like this. There's certain things in life you can control, and other things you can't control.
You just can't.
And we talked about that a lot, with avoiding the distractions, whether it be you just thought it was a referee's bad call, okay, on a block charge. There's nothing you can do about that. And that's something that we've taken great pride in this year, is that we've eliminated some of those distractions that have bothered us in the past. And I think that's one of the reasons that we've been successful and won so many close games, is that we haven't let the distractions get to us. And so we're trying to continue to stay positive, that the Ohio High School Athletic Association has left a window that, we still could be playing these games. So we practiced last Thursday, we practiced last Friday, a couple of great practices, and we'll see what happens.
Let's take the gloom out of the conversation for a minute and talk about some basketball. I mentioned so many close games this year, and I don't know that I have personally seen a 75-point game this year. Anybody score 75 points. And the point of my bringing this up is that there are people now around the state who are saying the games are 44-42, 42-40. I saw your game at Marion earlier this year when you won in overtime by 2 points. There's not very many points. And in the tournament here in the last couple of weeks, in Rushi's game at the Piqua sectional, they held the ball the entire second quarter. In Marion Local's win over, I think it was New Bremen, in the second overtime at Wapakoneta last week, they held the ball almost the entire 4 minutes in the second overtime before they scored and won. There are people who are saying it's time for shot clock, and there's going to be issues with that of expense and who's going to run it and do things. Some coaches say yes, some coaches say no. Let's talk about the shot clock, and you've been around basketball a long time. Is it time? No, it's not. I love high school basketball. I think that holding the ball and doing some of the things that Marion Local did, and that, you talk about the Jackson Center, the Rushi game, I think that's high school basketball. And I'd be disappointed if we went to a shot clock. I think that's game planning, that's strategy. We're preparing to play Marion Local after watching that Tuesday night game. That took up part of our practice on Thursday, is preparing for Marion Local when they pull it out. Just in case. Just in case. Eric Rosenbeck at St. Henry, Paul Bremingen at Rushi, who Eric played for. You had to be prepared when Rushi, back to my days when I was at Bacchians, you had to be prepared for when Rushi went four corners. When Eric goes four corners at St. Henry, it's part of your game plan throughout the course of the week. We utilize that in spreading the floor here at Parkway.
if a team's going, we will spread the floor and see how they're going to guard us when we go 4 corners, maybe late in the quarter or late in the half, or when we have a lead, with 3 minutes to go in the game. And I think it's part of high school basketball, and it's what makes high school basketball special in the state of Ohio.
Proponents of the shot clock, and I don't have to tell you, you're an athletic director, you're in school administration, you know that the numbers are declining in terms of participation in all sports, but they're down in basketball too. And so there are people who say we need a shot clock to make it more interesting, more fun, kids want to score. They see the NBA, they see the college game with the shot clock at 30 seconds up and down, more action. This is going to be vital to having more kids participate in the future of high school basketball. Is that a concern for you?
I don't think it's a concern for me. I think I think kids like to score, and I think some really good teams in this area are very well coached and they defend really well. And we joke all the time that with all of our games being online and through Huddle, that there is no such thing as a good set play after the first 2 weeks of the season, because everybody's watched everything you got.
That's true.
So as a high school coach nowadays, it's a little different than it was before Huddle and before all the games were online. You save some stuff. And we intentionally saved 3 or 4 good sets. And there's nothing more rewarding than walking through the line and hearing an opposing coach say, hey, we didn't have that one. Because you saved it and you knew that you had to. Otherwise, as soon as it gets out there on film, the other teams know your stuff as well as you do. So,
and Doug, to that point, and you just mentioned Columbus Grove being undefeated #1. You're 19-7, and I would have to believe the manner in which you've won those 19 games this year, would not have been an easy preparation for Columbus Grove to play you, given the way you guys have played defense, the way you play together, what you've been able to accomplish this year. I would imagine that you're a very uncomfortable opponent for anybody that you'd meet in tournament situations, because anything can happen.
I think so, and the reason I say that is because we have multiple guys who can hurt you. Caleb, our all-time leading scorer, Caden Slusher hit huge 3 after huge 3 after huge 3 to win some big games for us. Yes, a sophomore.
Yeah.
And we do a nice job of finding him. Dylan has done a really nice job finding guys, and also had some big games throughout the course of this season, both on the boards and scoring the basketball. Nick Hawk, we're not going to know what he meant to us until we have to game plan defensively next year, and we don't have Nick to take away the other team's best post player or best player overall. So you think about game plan against Parkway. That's one of the things that's really important, is that we had great balance and that we were able to get multiple guys scoring the basketball. The other thing was the great defense. You look at the scores and the points that we gave up, 31 to Marion Local, 43 to Minster, 39 to Upper Sauter Valley, and 42 to Tiffin Calvert. That defensive effort is going to win a lot of basketball games for you in late February and early March.
Lights are going out, we better quit.
All right.
But in the event that you get a chance to win, or to win it and go on to the next step, best of luck and congratulations on the kind of season you have had. It's been a lot of fun to watch Parkway.
Yeah, it's been very special.
And a lot of time between drinks of water.
Yes.
Yeah, it really has. This has been a special year. Doug Hughes, the coach of the Parkway Panthers, again our guest this week on First Person, sponsored by the Precision Strip Company in Minster. Great place to start or finish your career. Give them a call or check them out online. The address scrolling across here, the bottom of First Person. Again, for Coach Hughes and our sponsors, thank you for your support of what we do each and every week here on PressProsMagazine.com. We'll see you again next time with another edition of First Person. Have a great week.